And hello, everybody. Welcome to another We Uplift moment. I'm Natalie, and I'm happy to talk one more time with Tina today. Tina's over in Amsterdam, I believe, Haarlem, Holland, and we love to connect. So, Tina, everything's going well with you today?
Yes, thank you, Natalie.
It's always good to connect with you. And earlier we were chatting, and of course, you brought up TAT, which is an amazing healing modality. I don't really know how to explain it because it's energy, but it's also tapping and all of that. But a lot of people have heard about it now. You've got some beautiful videos that explain TAT. But can you tell us a little bit more about how you see TAT and how you use it?
Sure. Well, TAT stands for Tapas Acupressure Technique. It's basically introduced by Tapas Fleming, a acupuncturist from California who started out working with allergies, and this whole protocol ended up being developed that is now known as TAT. And TAT basically consists of holding the pose, as we call it, and that's simply touching a couple of pressure points, acupuncture points on your face, one at the on the forehead, and 2 points on the inside of the eye corners, just above the eye corners, and one at the back of the head at the base of the skull. And somehow by activating those points and holding your attention on something, whatever it may be, it's like a portal of grace opens. And one of the things that I really enjoy about it, I came into contact with TAT in a session that I had with a coach one time, and I was amazed at how simple it was, how effective it was, and how gentle. And then it's encouraged me to pursue it further. I ended up going to California to train with Tapas, and then was so excited about the possibilities, especially because it gives people a tool that they can use anywhere, anytime. Doesn't require any talking. You simply hold the pose and put your attention on something, and you feel that, whatever emotional charge is there just dissipate. I love it.
Okay, but of course I have to ask this question. What are you putting your attention on? Because I suppose normally when we're trying to heal something negative. So does that mean I have to focus on something negative to get rid of it while holding that pose?
Well, first of all, I say, that we've been going through the cycle over the last however many years, thinking that there's something to fix. And I would rather say that TAT to me is like holding the pose and allowing those layers to be revealed, to be released, so as to reveal that magnificent being who you are. It's kind of like a revelation of that light that's inside of you. One of the things that you can do, we've all experienced things in the past, if we call it that. You can't change anything about what happened. What you can change something about is how you respond to what happened. And that is precisely where energy modalities such as TAT are very effective and powerful. And so, you can use this. Say, for instance, I worked with a client who had been in a pretty traumatic experience in tsunami. I just had her hold the pose and put her attention on everything that had happened there. And now an important point to stress there is that it's not required to relive the scenario. In fact, we say that's not what you're doing. You're really just holding the pose, noticing what happened, and be like a witness. So it's kind of like watching a movie.
That sounds kind of cool, actually. Yeah, but I think it's important that you point out that we don't relive when we do TAT. It's not about going back in there and having all the emotions, because that would be probably not as healthy, just to put it that way.
I think it's unnecessary stress for the system. And I just taught a workshop the other weekend, and it was so amazing. I mean, the group, I'd look to see what kind of topics are people going to be bringing with them, and the topics addressed, man, was like going right into the core of it all. And seeing the transformation in people, within 20 minutes, 25 minutes, people's eyes start shining. You actually sometimes see a glow coming from people's faces. It's really like turning on the light inside yourself.
Well, I remember that from the workshop that you gave, and I think we did it over Skype or Sacred Ground, and everybody there, you could really see that, as you mentioned, the portal of grace or that light after we did a little session, a trial run. It was just amazing to see, really the light, as you put it.
Mm.
I think that's really amazing. But how would you explain the benefits to somebody? Just sitting there holding the pose. I'm playing devil's advocate, right? Sitting there holding the pose and thinking, but not really reliving. And then what happens?
Well, what happens is what happens. Some people, it's a great. I think one of the one of the things that I love about TAP, the way that the whole certification program guides people through a deepening experience of TAT. One of the workshops that's included is practicing presence, and that's really what this is about. It's about letting go of whatever is standing in the way of you being able to be fully present with yourself and with someone else, and allowing that source of grace to do whatever it does and just witness.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can have a TAT experience, and you can hear the angels singing, and oh my God, it's like hallelujah, everything has changed, and you're like, oh my God. And then the next time you have a session, it seems like nothing is happening. And so, I think to go back to what you're asking, how to experience the benefits, going back to, for instance, someone who's had trauma, a very traumatic experience, such as being in a tsunami, there can be little incidents that can be just as traumatic. But when that's been causing nightmares with people for years, not feeling safe, feeling edgy all the time, not trusting, not feeling supported, afraid to step out, and actually being afraid to ask for what you need because the fear of receiving, and blah 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 blah, all of that. You go through a TAT session and you may find that all of a sudden, even though any of those things were not what you were putting your attention on, that suddenly, miraculously, things have changed, and you can sleep, you feel more at peace, you're able to trust, you're able to to just be, I suppose. That's it.
Okay. Well, if you can do all of that in a session, how long is normally a TAT session?
Well, the first time when I'm connecting with people, it's explaining the process a little bit. We do 3 steps at the beginning to prepare someone for TAT. Basically, you hold the pose and you just put your attention on the words, TAT is too easy to work and to be of any value. Now, the beauty is with that is that, you can hear those monkey mind voices going, but when you hold the pose, because those thoughts are going anyway, and you observe what happens, and then you just relax. And the second one is TAT is easy and can work and be of great value. And you just observe what happens there. And then the last one for preparation is, I deserve to live and be happy, and I am willing to receive love, support, and healing.
Mm.
And that statement in and of itself, you could just hold the pose, and just put your attention on that statement and just observe what happens.
Mm.
And then once someone has had an experience, I connect with people on a regular basis, 30 minutes. 30 minutes would be sharing a little bit about where you're at, what you would like to put in what I call the pot, the bundle, the cauldron, whatever you want to call it, and then going through the session. Generally, the session itself is like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you also do it more quickly? Let's say, of course, you're a certified trainer. So if somebody has done it before, because I've run into a lot of people who are now trying to do it themselves without official training or without official guidance, could you just, let's say, before you go to bed, do the pose for a minute, 2 minutes, just focusing on one issue and be done with it instead of having to do 20, 25 minutes?
Yeah, actually, that's a great point, because it actually started by just holding the pose and putting your attention on something, whatever it was. And then when you feel like you're done, your arms want to come down, or your eyes start to water, or you yawn, or you have a deep breath, whatever, or you just feel like you're done, then you relax, and that's it. You could also do just a couple of the steps. When I say the steps, are certain statements that are part of the protocol to follow, and by simply taking a couple of those steps, you can have just as deep a healing experience as when you go through the full session. But the full session includes putting your attention on, for instance, forgiveness, forgiving others, forgiving yourself, forgiving yourself for blaming others, including God, whatever name you have for God.
Right. I think that's really crucial. The reason why I asked that is because there's so much belief that there's a quick fix for everything, and I think in some respects there may be when it comes to energy healing or TAT and other healing modalities, but I think it only happens really after you've gone through the steps a number of times. You got to first, I want to say, acclimate your body to everything, and I think then it works.
Well, no, actually I'd say with TAT the beauty is you can do a session and have amazing transformation happen right there and then. Clear something and it's gone. In fact, there's a story, you watch a video on the TAT Life site of one of the trainers who was in Vietnam, was stuck under a helicopter, and traumatic experience. He ended up coming into contact with TAT, went through session, and he said it was like watching a movie of what happened, but there was no sound and there were no feelings anymore. It was gone. Gone.
Yeah. Right. Did he do it himself, though, or did somebody lead him through it?
That was in a class, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm trying to say. I think you still want to at least get a little bit of guidance the first couple of times that you do it. Because having experienced TAT myself, yes, it can clear right after the first session or during the first session, but I think still a guided session initially is very helpful, not just because of the first 3 steps that you mentioned.
Yeah, and obviously, like with anything, I think when 2 or more come together with a focused intention, something miraculous seems to happen. It's like you get that extra grace support somehow. I don't know. It's beautiful.
It is. And Tina, we're out of time, but once again, I just want to thank you. It's always a pleasure to connect. I want to alert people to the fact that, of course, they can get in touch with you via Facebook. Tina, simple enough to find. Just type in Tina, and you'll connect with Tina and can ask her more questions. She also has a YouTube channel. I believe it's called Inner Delight, and you can find the all of the TAT videos that she has done there as well. So once again, Tina, just thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Natalie. It's a joy to be with you, and I look forward till the next time.
Me too. Bye.
Blessings.